My name is Megan Seville. I work for Cowles here with Miss Opal. I am actually taking over this Friday to teach you a little bit about one of my favorite crafts, needle felting. Needle felting is actually really simple. It seems when you start at first to be kind of difficult because there's multiple things to felt with and there's different types of needles, and it can be kind of intimidating at first, but once you get started, it's really easy because you really need only a few things when you first start out. First things first, needle felt is a wool-based craft. It is super fun because you can make different 3D objects and 2D objects. For instance, for my 2D object, I made a little scene of a hummingbird for my father for Father's Day. I made flowers. I was able to blend the colors to create a hummingbird. You can see that. Super easy and fun. Didn't take that long. I used a regular piece of felt as the background. And then some other examples of needle felt is this little mushroom I made. You can use needle felt to create jewelry, little ornaments for Christmas. You can make cute little birds, maybe with like a scarf or something. And then I made a little narwhal a while back. This is my little buddy. I like her. I was able to make the horn from a piece of needle felt that I wrapped another piece around, carefully felted it together. So yeah. Today we're going to be making this little guy, a small little cat, a nice little beginner cat. This guy is really simple. He only takes 3 colors. So I am gonna show you some of your basic tools you'll need. You're gonna need some kind of foam, a mat of some type. This is important because when you're needle felting, you want to have something soft that your needle can go down into, because if you don't, your needle could break very easily because your needles are very fragile, they're very thin, and with that you need some type of foam. You can easily get this at a craft store. You can get this at a fabric store because some people prefer like cushion foam. Some people actually felt their own needle felt cushions, which is really fantastic. I plan on doing that in the future. And beyond the foam, I also recommend very much so having little finger protectors like these. These are leather, but they're, well, faux leather, but there are other types that you can get as well, because when you're needle felting, more than likely at first you're going to poke yourself once or twice, and you want to try to negate that as much as possible because you want to make your cute little creatures without just constantly poking yourself. But once you start to get that rhythm, I have very rarely poked myself since I started. Now, I'm gonna get on to needles, the whole title of needle felting. Okay, so with needle felt, there are several different types of needles. There are star, there are triangle, there are several different types. Even I don't know all of them. The ones we're gonna work with today are the triangle type. Triangle type, you can see, are 3-sided. See, needle felt needles have little barbs on them, which when going into the felt, agitate the wool in the scale. See, wool is scaled. It has like little scales that will lock together, which will create your object, which will put that object, you know, into a shape because they start to lock together. It's the same process with an average piece of felt, except there's wet and dry felting. What we're doing is dry felting. Wet felting is where you agitate it through the wash. You can take wool and put it through soap and water and like hot water and really agitate it in the wash and create pieces. You can actually do that to create hand felting, wet felting projects, which are really cool. I haven't done that yet. A lot of people really enjoy that, where they can take pieces of like wool and shape it through water to create an object. It's really cool. We're going to be doing the dry felting process. A lot less messy. But this is really great because it doesn't take much to needle felt. You don't have to do as much pressure because the needles, like I said, are very delicate. And they're very similar, the needles, to embroidery needles, in that the gauges actually, the number goes up for the smaller of the needle. Like this one is a 38. This is what we're going to be working with today. A 38 is really great for the base of the project because you can really get in there. It's sturdier, it's thicker, you can really shape your object. But for our little eyes, our nose, you know, the ears, we're going to be using the 40 gauge, which is a lot thinner, a lot more delicate, can really get into the small spaces and pockets. This is for what you want for like really delicate work, which is when you're doing, like I did recently, a little seal for a friend, and I did little spots on its back. I did little spots on its back, and I made like tiny little spots, which I used the 40 gauge to be able to add those little spots. And now we're gonna get into types of wool. This is a real lesson right here. Even I don't know all the types. Okay, so when it comes to wool, there are multiple types. There are different types of sheep. There are different types of like fat, you know, types of processes that it's called. But we're gonna work with 2 different types today with just a little bit. All right, so the first type is our classic roving, wool roving. This is, as you can see, it's not very straight. It has been very agitated. It is very twisted together. Now, with combed top, which is what we're going to do for the eyes, as you can see, as you pull it apart, see how straight it is? It's a lot straighter. It's a lot smoother. It goes together, and you can see the difference between the two right here. It's really interesting. And we're gonna work with those because roving is really great for needle felt because it's very stiff, it holds its shape. But the comb top is really great because you're able to put more careful work into it, more detail. It's very thin and light. And some people actually, which myself included, like to use roving as the core felt, which is where we take it and we roll it up together, we stick it, and then we take the comb top and lay it over it. That way you can use like a uncolored white piece as kind of your base project, and that way your more expensive and nicer combed top can go on top and can go on top, and it will add color and texture without making it like so that you're using up all your good comb tops, which can be a little bit more pricey and come in like smaller bits. So let's get started on our basic cat shape. Sorry, needed some water. Okay, for this, since we're going to be sticking this, I'm gonna put my little guards on. All right, so first things first, the key to needle felt is to start small. Always start with small pieces. Even this is pretty large, but basically you want to start small because you can always add more to it. So to do our basic small shape, we're going to take this, as you can see, and we're going to start rolling it. By rolling it, we're going to create like a sausage kind of shape. And we're going to tuck in the sides, kind of twisting it. If you can see, I'm going to start twisting it. Sometimes you can actually tie a knot and then kind of wrap it around it. And by doing so, it makes it easier to felt into a ball shape. Because this is going to be the base of our cat. And yes, I'm going to do a purple and green cat today because it's fun. And autumn is here, Halloween is around the corner. I want to make a spooky cat. All right, so we have kind of our basic shape. We're going to kind of hold it tight together. And when needle felting, you want to go in and out at the same direction, because if you turn it in any way, see, the barbs catch and agitate your fabric, but if you bend it, those barbs make it very fragile at the same time. So if you bend it, you can easily break it. And let me tell you, as somebody who has broken several needles in the past, you don't want to do that because then you've lost a needle. Let me tell you, it was tragic breaking my first needle. I was like, I can't believe I've done this. But as you start out, see, there are also a lot of needle holders. I'm just going to show you how to use just the basic needle. They're really great needle holders. Like, you can get your basic wood ones like this, or this is the greatest. This is really great for like big projects and to really get in there with the fibers and really agitate them and really blend them together. Really love this. But in a lot of kits, they will come with like plastic covers for your needles. I honestly just sometimes like to use the needle myself. But yeah, we're gonna start poking this guy. We're gonna make it a cat. Sometimes you gotta poke to make it cute. All right, so as you can tell, as we've just barely even started to do this, it's already starting to shape into a ball. It does not take much. And as you're doing this, kind of, sometimes you can take off your little protectors and kind of feel. If you can see, it's starting to get firm. Compare this to kind of like this, where it's like, it goes together a lot faster and a lot like more easily. This is starting to get firmer. You want that firmer shape. You will start to get the hang of like how dense you want your little creatures to be. You usually want them to have a little firmness so they're not just crumpling into themselves. But sometimes, like recently, I made my mother some needle felted honeybees. The wings were very light, they were very delicate, and I had them very thin. I did not overfelt them, because sometimes you can overfelt and they will be hard as a rock, and you don't really want to do that. But I kept them super light, more light than I would do for most projects, because I wanted them to be able to kind of float in the air. All right, see? Have kind of a basic round shape. Now, this is what you do when you have core. I'll show you with our roving. You can spread it out once you kind of create that little inner core. And as you can tell with wool roving, it has a lot of like, it'll have a lot of like fibers and pieces of even twigs and leaves, and you can comb that out. Because with roving, it is not a very highly processed, like, kind of creation. It stays a little bit more natural compared to others, which are very carefully combed out. They're very delicately dyed, but it is great to work with. So while it is not the prettiest at times, it is still very fantastic. All right, so we take this, we spread it out, kind of like a blanket. We're wrapping up our cat, and we're making a burrito. Not a burrito, a burrito for a cat. And what's really great about this cat project is that you can also easily turn it into a dog by just a little lengthening of the ears, a little twist, shortening of the tail. You can add a tongue. All right. Kind of wrap that around there carefully. See? And then you start, I recommend going for like some of the edges and start kind of felting the edges together. Let them start weaving together. All right. We're gonna roll this. But yeah, use a bigger needle for your first kind of like major sections of your project, because it is so much easier to handle. It goes so much faster, because if I was to use the smaller needle on this, I would honestly be here for a while. And when I first started, I didn't realize, and I used kind of bigger needles for my projects because I didn't realize there were like sizes. So I would use bigger needles, and I would be wondering why I couldn't really get those delicate pieces that I'd seen online or in books. But once I started understanding needle gauges, I was able to make much more finer and delicate projects. See, our cat is getting there. Look at that. It's really kind of bouncy, springy. You can see it is getting better in the density. Still would like it a little bit denser so it can really hold some shape. And then I'll teach you how to do more delicate work like the ears. And see, when you are needle felting, you want to make sure you're really not going deep into the project. You're really going into the surface of the object to agitate the wool, because like very rarely do you really want to go into it, because that doesn't really do anything, because the barbs are only about 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch on the needle. Like, it is not that far. So if you're going that deep, you're really not doing much. You're just poking it. And that makes it a lot easier to break your needle, which is, like I said, tragic, because sometimes you get attached to your needles because you know them, they've gone through your projects with you. Don't harm your emotional support needles. Okay, now we're cooking with gas, as they say. Though we're not cooking, because wool and fire don't mix. Don't cook your wool. Alrighty, so look at that. It's a lot firmer. It's kind of like when you go and like get a pom-pom, like an industrial kind of pom-pom. It's kind of the same texture. Like if you've ever crafted with pom-poms, like as a kid or even as an adult, like it's got that kind of same feel. Now we have our basic cat shape, and you can just like keep poking along if you see any areas that you're like, that looks a little soft, that doesn't look like it's kind of, you know, blended together. Alrighty, there is our cat shape. Now, I'm going to teach you how to do the ears, which I'm going to take these off because it's a very delicate kind of process, and I want to be careful. So, first things first, we're going to pull off our green. Carefully pull off a little bit more, like I said, you want to start small. You want to take a small piece. Now, my process for making cat ears is as follows. I gently take a piece, I fold it to the side, kind of like how you would fold a flag, kind of the back, forth kind of process. And we're going to take our baby needle and start to felt. And again, remember, you can always add more, but it's difficult to take away because once you agitate it, it will start to hold that shape, and it's not going to be great. You can't really reuse that. You can wrap it, add a little bit more. And see, once you start getting into it, like I couldn't do this before, you will be like a machine being able to felt. You will have no problem with going faster, kind of upping your speed, and you will be able to go in the same direction after a certain point. At first, you need to go very slow, take very measured pokes. Number one, for the safety of your fingers, and also your poor needles, don't break them. But, all right, see, here is our kitty cat ear so far. Very triangle shaped. All right, you're probably wondering why I left this very long and loose. Here's a tip. When needle felting and adding pieces, always have some pieces kind of like this hanging. You want to be able to have this because this makes it much easier to put it together because it like blends very easily into this. Like if you have just a shape that is very rounded on each side, there's really nothing for it to hook into. This is like the perfect little creature to go into here. Like it is able to blend more easily into the fibers of this by having a little kind of hook. So we're gonna poke our cat ear one. Look at that, cute little triangle. Now we're gonna go for cat ear two. Unless you want a one-eared cat, you can do whatever you want. That's what I like about needle felt, is that it is a very imaginative craft. You can do whatever you want. Like I've made little video game characters from my favorite video games before. I've made, if you've been in quarantine and you know what I'm talking about, Animal Crossing. I made an Animal Crossing character for a friend. It's very fun, and like I plan on making some Christmas ornaments this year. I'm gonna make some probably like little birds or squirrels, maybe make them little hats and gloves. That's the thing about needle felt, is that you can do stuff like that and it's so fun. And you can do as big and as small as you want. See, my ear is all ready. It doesn't take long. Honestly, I can do, like some more professional people can do it a lot longer, and they can take hours for one simple piece, but honestly, for some smaller pieces, it can take you upwards of only 20, 30 minutes, the very most an hour for more detailed pieces for me. It's a very fast and efficient craft. See, as you're doing this, you want to kind of shape it so you go up and down the sides. That way you kind of get that triangle shape. And you want to kind of flatten it out. That way his little ears aren't too fat. Yeah. And don't be afraid if your first couple pieces and stuff aren't really, the proportions aren't great, the size isn't great. What the point of needle felt is to make something that you like, something that's fun and different. It's not about being pretty and perfect. It's just about making something soft and that you want to make. So don't worry about perfection, because perfection is overrated. If things don't have some type of imperfection, it looks machine made, and honestly, you don't want that. You want something handmade and fun. And that's needle felt. Just taking little bits of wool. One interesting fact about needle felt is that you can actually needle felt with animal fur. So if you have a long-haired dog or cat, you can actually take some of their shed fur and use it for a project. I personally have never done that myself because it's kind of weird. But you know what? I have seen a lot of like people make pet memorials and even gifts for friends of their pet by using the pet's actual fur. And you know what? More power to you. You make your pet sculpture. Oh my gosh, it's making me question if you can use human hair. Now that's creepy. Don't do that. Don't use human hair. But you know what? I mean, if you wanted to do it, but you know, don't say the library gave you the idea to use human hair to make weird cats. So no. Alrighty, so our ears are nice and chubby. You have a nice cat. We're gonna start doing that. So for this, I realize this is a little bit long, so I'm gonna carefully tear some of the fibers out so it's a little bit shorter and it's easier to blend in. So here we go. Gonna start doing our kitty cat. Oh yeah. See, it's already starting to go in a lot simpler. And you're really just going around the edges. You're not worrying too much about the basic, like, big piece of it. You're going to those little edges and you're kind of like sticking them into there, agitating the fibers so they hook together. There you go. You also want to encourage your needle felt. Talk nice to it. Kind of like you would do yourself, a friend, or a pet. Spread a little joy and positivity. I like my little needle felt animals, so I try to bring a little happiness, a little joy to them. And I try to make kind of whimsical pieces like the narwhal. I made my best friend a little Pokemon creature from the game Pokemon. You know, just make something happy. You can make realistic animals. You can make cute little Halloween creatures. It's really up to you. But it's super fun. Alrighty. You see? We got some little ears. Look at that. Our little Halloween cat is getting there. Alright. Now, we're going to give it a little contrast. So, we're going to make a little nose. A little snout. We're going to fold the fabric and the roving together. Move that. And then we're going to start agitating it. Getting it to come together. Kind of getting the pieces. You want to get some of the edges, but you want to leave a lot of the edges kind of hanging like that, because that way it's easier to adhere to our little cat. All right. Now let's start getting our cat a face. Or dog. You can be making a dog. It's super easy to make a dog, and they're really cute because you do their little ears, and you can do a basset hound. You can do a Dalmatian. Oh, Dalmatians are really cute when you needle felt them because they're like, you can do like this, you can do like the little just kind of round body, or you can do the a lot of people do it like, it's very hyper realistic. It's fantastic. Oh, so interesting how they're able to make it. They actually use wires to create shapes, and they wrap the roving and like the core felt, core wool around the wires. And this is more professional projects, like myself have not been able to like do that yet, but you wrap it around it and it creates like bendable frames, so you can create like a Dalmatian and be able to bend it so it can lie down. And oh, it's fantastic. Those are projects that you can totally create. Like, I'm getting there myself and it's taking time, but that's the whole thing about this, is it's a learning project. Now, as you can see, our kitty cat has a little snout. Alrighty, so we're gonna take a little bit of black, because in a minute we're gonna start doing the face, the eyes and the nose. Let me teach you how to make a quick little cattail. Okay, much like the ears, you're gonna kind of roll it, but you're gonna continue to roll. And with that, you're also maybe gonna like twist it down. You really wanna make a fat little sausage shape. Actually, we're gonna go for our larger gauge needle because this is a larger piece. All right. Pull out the larger needle, you pull out your protectors. Okay, we're gonna start agitating this guy. Needle felt. We're poking something and agitating it is actually a good thing. It is a very relaxing craft, Marcus. It is really great and really fun because you can just, you start to, it's a very mindless craft at times because you just start shaping and it becomes very organic. Because you're like, you know what, I like this, I'm gonna make myself a larger cattail, or I'm gonna make myself a cat with wings. You can do whatever you want. All right, see, we're starting to get a nice basic poofy tail shape. Oh, hi, Opal. We miss you. She is the crafting queen, and we do in fact miss her. She is on vacation this week, which is why I'm making a guest appearance here. It's kind of like in television where like the host goes away for a minute and like the guest like star comes up and they take over for like one episode. That's me. I'm the guest star. All right, we're agitating this buddy. Look at that, it's making a fat little cat tail. It's so cute. And it's really great because I made a bunny a while back, and it was so fun to make a chubby little bunny tail. And I made a friend a bird recently here. She's a really great coworker, really love her. Made her a fun little blue jay, and made it a fat little tail. Alrighty. And with this, you can also do like stripes and you can do spots. But for this basic little kitty, I'm just gonna do him a basic little tail. And then we might add like a stripe or a spot at the end. Just add a little detail because it's fun. I've done little spots before, and like with my hummingbird right here, I did like little stripes on the wings to add some of that brilliant color, like with real hummingbirds. Though you can't really do a hummingbird justice. They're gorgeous little things. And then, as you can tell, here's our little cat butt. Little cat tail. There you go. To give it a little bit more movement, I'm going to curve it. And then with this, I'm going to carefully take it and felt the sides, which is gonna, see? This is real easy, and it's easy to pull apart. Let me show you. Needle felting, while this piece can be harder to like kind of break apart, needle felt is one of those projects that if you mess it up, you can fix it. Honestly, like watch this, watch this. Look at that. Look how easily I can pull that apart. It's nothing. You can easily, you make a mistake, you can fix it. Or you don't like something, redo it. I've done that many a times. I've done something and I've realized, you know what, I don't really like that shape, or you know what, I want its tummy to be fatter. So I add a bigger tummy or something. Alrighty, so here is our basic little kitty. Got your tail. Alright, let's do its eyes. Okay, so when I do eyes, I usually like to work with, well, lately I've been working with more plastic eyes, which have these little, let me open this up to show you. The plastic eyes, there are multiple kinds you can find online or in stores. They are basic, these are the basic little black eyes. They're really cute. They, as you can see, they are just, they're kind of mushroom shaped. And that allows them, when you have like a little, you can use a skewer, like a skewer from like a fruit skewer or something, and poke like little holes into it, and to create the eyes. Super duper easy to put those in, but for beginners and just for an everyday thing, it's really great to take this and carefully, like, I roll it into a little ball. And I don't worry too much about like having the fibers kind of stick out because it's such a small piece. And, like, you can tear it carefully and you kind of roll it into, see, like a little shape. It's gonna give it a little eye. Super easy, super relaxing too, because all the wool is like super light and comfy, and it's really soft to touch. Like, I myself am kind of a hoarder of wool. I currently have like a lot of different colors, and it's so much fun to go through and pick out colors for projects. Like, it took me darn near like 10 minutes just picking through each of the wool this morning. Like, I'm like, what color is my cat gonna be? And I was like, you know what? I want a spooky Halloween cat. It's gonna be purple and green, because you know what? Yeah, make your purple and green cat. All right, now we have two little eyes, tiny, tiny little eyes, so our cat may see. Now, we're gonna carefully, kind of to the side, start agitating that wool, adding our cute little kitty cat eyes. You can see clearly now, the fuzz is gone. Ta-da. Very simple. Our kitty cat is now able to see. Now we're gonna make it a little nose. Same way, super simple. And throughout my kit, I have like little pieces of wool like this, because it's really great when you're making projects and you're like, okay, I've got too much of this, I'm gonna tear this off. Save those little pieces, because with needle felt, you can pretty much use anything, because you may go, you know what? I can make a little nose with that little piece. Or like, I've got a piece of yellow here. I gotta add it to like make a flower or something. So it's a very, you know, frugal kind of craft, because you can use it over and over again, and you can make little things with each piece. So you never really throw anything out. So you can get like a basic kit with like just a little bit of felt and be able to make great pieces. Okay, look at this little nose. Alrighty, so made a little nose. You know what? We've got a little time. I'm gonna show you how to add like a little color to your project. Oop, knocked over our other cat. As you can see, this cat, it has like little stripes on the side. You can do spots or stripes or something, or like, I'll show you how to, you know what? We can actually do a really fun thing where we can kind of wrap the ears or like you can do, like I said, like little polka dots. There's so many different options. I think I'm gonna do some stripes on these. With one, I actually made some cute like little big spots, kind of like a calico, but I like made it like pink and white. You gotta love the little fantasy cats. See, for this, you want kind of a more of a natural stripe, so you're not gonna make it like too big. So you're gonna do a very light, small piece, because like I said, you can always add more to it. It's not like baking, where you're like, everything's an exact science. No, needle felt is very, do it how you like, and who cares? It's, you can do whatever you want. All right, I'm gonna take my 40 gauge needle, because it's perfect for this, because it's very small, and meaning that I'm more able to really get in there, because with the bigger needle, you can't really do as many delicate projects because it's a little bit too strong for it, and it can actually tear smaller pieces. Like I have torn up some little like animal eyes with this, because as you can see, they're really smaller, they're delicate, and it can really mess them up because it's kind of too big, it tears. But it's great for bigger pieces. Now, okay, stretch out that. I'll make a little stripe on the side. And like with this, you can do like little collars. You can do like a little, like make a cat and like add a little collar and make like a little gold bell. Or you can do a dog, and even like you can do like a little silver name tag, and like maybe take a little bit of your black comb top, because it's a lot thinner, it's a lot more delicate, and you can actually shape your wool and use like your 40 or even a smaller needle if you wanted, and you can use it and kind of make it looks like it has words on it. It's really fun, the detail you can get in with this. Like, I didn't realize how like truly like detailed needle felt can be, because you look at it and you're like, okay, that's a big piece of wool, you know, you can't really get in there with that. No, you can, and it's really great. Alrighty, our spooky Halloween kitty cat is getting there. All right, and like with needle felt, you can go, you know what, I'm not really sure about the ears. Like for this little guy, I want his ears to be a little bit more into his head. There we go. So we are just about done. All right, his little face. Alrighty. Let me just tuck his tail a little bit. It came out when I did his little sides because I pulled on it. They can be delicate. Some are really sturdy. Like, you could actually make some more sturdier pieces and give it to children as gifts, because they're great little toys, because they're really fun. But for this is kind of a more smaller, delicate piece. Alrighty. This is our little cat. He has little stripes on his side. He has little ears. He's really soft. Little eyes. A cute little fat tail. And yeah, that is how you needle felt a basic project. So thank you so much for coming to my TED Talk. Just kidding. Our needle felt show. Thank you for coming to First Friday. Tune in next month for Opal's other amazing projects, and thank you again. Boop, boop.